Hello and welcome to the fourth instalment of the Hull Youth Music Network podcast in association with Goodwin Development Trust and West Hull FM. This week you're joined by myself, Cameo Brooks, who is going to be hosting, and we're being joined by an MC, a DJ, he runs events and stuff. He's an all-round talented artist and musician. It's Ashley Noble.
Yes, thank you for having me on. So it's weird because I'm not recording this one today, but I'm still involved in the episode.
Yeah, a little bit of a switch up this week.
Yeah, most definitely. Yes, thank you for having me on.
So Ash, did you want to tell people sort of what you do as a musician?
Yeah, well, in all fairness, I do a bit of everything, to be honest. So my main passion and what I'm really focusing on at the moment is my DJing. So I've got a love for mixing records, playing tunes, and that buzz when you've got two songs and you get them in time and you get them in beat. And alongside that, I do rapping and MCing. So I write my own lyrics. I go to events and gigs and I perform on the mic, so I'm hyping the crowd up. I also do music production, which I'm really enjoying at the moment. So I'm making my own remixes, my own electronic dance music or bounce music, as what they call it, to the exact what I make. And I also I did radio broadcasting training. I've not yet done a show on the radio yet, but I've done the training.
Yeah, so you do a little bit of everything, really, don't you?
I do, yeah. I just love everything music related, so just getting my fingers in all different projects and different things is really fun and cool.
Yeah, definitely. So, when did you first start getting into music? Was it DJing that you first found a passion for?
Well, I've always, from as far back as I can remember, I've always had a passion for music. So my mum's told me stories where when she was pregnant with myself, she'd put, the radio on or CDs on, back then. And I'd actually be kicking inside the stomach to the music. And then when I was also born, apparently the only way to get me to settle down and go to sleep was to go for a drive into the country and play dance music and rave music. So I've always had a passion for music, and I've always been brought up around a music environment. My mum and dad were, let's say, party animals, so they liked going raving a lot. There was often at house parties, and because they had a kid, obviously I came along to the house parties. So I'd be sort of in the house, sort of maybe playing on a PS2 or something, but there'd always be that rave music in the background. And then when I was probably round about the age of maybe 10, 11 years old, my mum and dad had sadly split up, and my mum was with another bloke, and he had a pair of Technics 1210s, and I think it was a 2-channel mixer, and he had loads of records. And at the time, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just had a fascination of putting the record on the record player. And one of my fondest memories is he had a white labelled remix of Michael Jackson, Billie Jean, and it was mashed up with a Rihanna song. I used to put that record on, and he had a microphone at the time, and I used to go on the microphone and pretend I'm on the radio and I'm announcing this tune. And my mum used to get sick of it, but I loved it.
Yeah, so you've always had the passion for music since being
I've always had a passion for music. And then I suppose when I got to sort of the age of sort of like 14, 15, I sort of thought, you know what, maybe I should start actually doing something with music. I've got this love for it. I love listening to it. Everything just feels right when I'm sort of listening to music. So I thought, why don't I have a go at getting into music itself? So I sort of had a little look into DJing, and I found a free software online called Virtual DJ. So I installed it onto my PC, and I was just playing around with it for a little while. And my dad came into my room one day and said, what's this you're playing on? What you're doing? And I'm like, it's a thing called Virtual DJ. And we got speaking, and he decided to buy me a little controller for Christmas, little DJ thing. So I got that on Christmas of 2013. 2014, I began as this DJ.
So you said it was sort of 15 years old that you decided, you want to sort of push this as a career and take it seriously. from that point, like what did you do to sort of put yourself in the music industry?
So obviously I got this DJ controller for Christmas. So sort of Christmas to New Year, I was just having a little play around with it and getting used to it. And I obviously didn't know what I was doing, but at the time I thought, you know what, I'm enjoying this. So I think it would be February of the 2014 where I decided, like, you know, I've got to start making social media pages. So at the time I was sort of thinking, well, what do I even want to be called as a DJ? You know, how am I even going to go about this? So I decided, of all things, it sounds totally daft now, but to call myself DJ Madhead. At the time, like, there was just banter going around school, like, oh, you're a Madhead, you. And so I just thought DJ Madhead. So I made this page, started putting up some like mixes. And then that's when I suppose it sort of went uphill for me, but it also went downhill as well because a lot of bullying started.
So, what would you say that your biggest achievement's been so far with music?
My biggest achievement, I would probably say, as far as music-wise goes, is I did a track with the Jigger Man called The Good Life. So things started going well for me musically wise, and I met this guy called The Layman, and he was giving me like a very positive mind, and he was very helpful and helping me with my music. I just had an idea in my head that one day I want to record like a little reggae tune. So I pitched the idea to record this reggae tune called The Good Life, and it's essentially about a guy having a good life, and he's got no stress, no worries, and you know, he just enjoys every day, and he don't basically he don't give a damn about, you know, bad things that are going on. So we did this tune, and we made our own little video for it, and it received really well, and it actually got released. So it's my only like proper physically released tune that you can get on like Amazon Music and stuff like that and Spotify. But it was like a buzz because we actually put it to a distributor, and then we didn't hear anything. So we thought, oh, it just, you know, it must not have gone on. And then one day I was browsing Spotify and I came across it, and I'm like, oh my god, you know, this is actually being released.
So like I've noticed with that, because that song's called The Good Life. I've personally noticed that a lot of your music has like a positive message. Like, is that sort of a running theme with your tracks, especially ones like that you write?
Yeah, well, I mean, like I say, when I grew up, I was heavy into dance music, and dance music always gave off a happy vibe in itself.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, it's getting people dancing, feeling good. And I just thought, you know, we're in a world today where there's so much like problems in the world, and people go through so much like depression and mental health, and you know, there's always someone, you know, you meet so many people, but at some point in their life they've always gone through like a bad patch or a rough sort of time. So with the music, I wanted to kind of give this sort of like positive outlook, and I want my music, like we've done another reggae tune called Tunnel, and it's about just sort of like showing people that, you know, you might have something going on, but there's light at the end of the tunnel. So we always try to give like a positive message or something happy, within our music.
Yeah, that's a great message as well to have, man. And so Tunnel, have you got any release date in mind for it? Or?
Well, we put it on YouTube. The thing about it is we used like a reggae instrumental beat, so I don't think we've got the rights and the royalties to release it. But we liked the beat, and it obviously fit what we wrote, so we just decided to put it on YouTube, and then we'll credit the original guy in the description for, you know, who owns the beat. But you know, that sort of way. So if you go onto YouTube, Layman Productions, you'll find it on there, along with loads of other music, some of the dance music that we produced, some drum and bass on there, some UK hardcore. Most recently, we tackled the remix of The Real McCoy, Another Night, which was a really big tune back in the 90s. We've done like a bounce sort of stroke of donk retake on that tune, and that's our most recent on there, so you can go and check that out as well.
Yeah, make sure you do go check check it out. I know I'll be definitely going on YouTube after this and having a listen to some of them. So I know you said about earlier in the interview about being bullied and stuff, but what would you say that your biggest challenge has been that you've faced as a musician or personally?
I would say it is the bullying, because when I first started DJing, and like I say, when I first set up that DJ page, and the bullying came on, it actually got to a point where I actually did give up, and I sold all the equipment. I got rid of everything, and I decided to go to college and study as a motorcycle mechanic instead. My family, they're really big on motorcycle racing. My granddad used to race himself, so I thought maybe I'll give that a go. And I was going through college itself, and I just knew it wasn't right for me. I knew something music related was right, but the bullying just got so like tough on you that I just felt like, what's the point in carrying on? If people are that negative and not liking what you're doing, then why am I carrying on? And it was just a case that because I was getting bullied that bad, I got told all different things online, kill yourself, jump off a bridge, wrap the lead that's plugged into your decks around your neck, and stuff like that. I just thought the only way is to give up. So slowly I lost interest, where I wouldn't want to go and turn the decks on, or even listen to any music, because these bullies were making it sort of that bad for me. And then 2015 was when I decided to reinvent myself and come back as MC Noble and come back as a rapper, but only this time I decided that, I can't let these bullies get to me, and I've got to go through and battle through if I really want to do something music related.
Yeah, it's sort of like you build up a little bit of a resilience to it after a while, don't you? Because at first, when people are hating and bullying and stuff, it seems really personal, but like looking at it from an outside of the box perspective, you understand that a lot of these kids or people can just be cruel sometimes, and like it's good that you stuck to music and you ended up getting back into it. Definitely.
Yeah, well, I got told by a good friend of mine that use your haters as fuel, and at first I'm thinking like, hey, use your haters as fuel, but now I really strongly agree with that. And if someone say online is being a little bit of an idiot and being a bit nasty over what you're doing, by you just continuing, so say you bring a track out and someone's giving it a bit of bad hate, if you come back with another track that's even better, that's you firing back at him. Whereas if you go back and reply to his comments and start a massive argument with him,
just like fueling the fire,
it can make you as an artist look bad, because you're in some sense you're going down to their level, and then you're then in some sense being nasty back to them, and then they're being nasty back to you. Whereas, like I say, if you just come back with something even better, music related, or say someone bullies you on the Monday and then on the Friday you announce, I've got this gig, that's kind of like you firing back at them, because they don't want you to get these good achievements. Do you know what I mean?
And I think if you look at like any artist in the world, like a lot of them say the same thing. There's always haters and things like that, and the best way is to just ignore it. And like a lot of these artists talk about not even checking the comment sections or anything like that, just getting on with what you're doing and like not letting someone else destroy something you love. Like just
well, I mean, I agree that in whatever you do, doesn't even just have to be music related. It could even be playing football. You're always going to get somebody that's gonna hate and be jealous of what you do. And one thing I've found out through doing like music is you find out who your true friends are, and you find out who your supporters are, because when I first started as an MC, I was living in a little town called Driffield where I'd grown up, and everybody, loads of people from school, there was liking, there was sharing it, there were, oh, Noble, you're going to go so far, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And then I started getting a bit better. So I got my first ever booking, which was at my local rugby club, to do half an hour in between an Elvis Presley impersonator and the band. And, slowly from there it built on, got links with a guy who had some recording equipment at his home. And from there on, these people that were there at the start saying, oh, you're going to smash it, you're going to absolutely do so well, they started fading away, and then less you'd see that they're not liking and sharing, to the point where I was getting gigs and I was texting them like, oh, I'm playing here, do you fancy coming? And then they're like, oh yeah, we'll get a hotel, we'll get an apartment, we'll make a weekend of it, I'll be there to support you. And then it comes, to the week of the booking and you don't hear anything. And then it comes to like Thursday, and then you have to text them, are you still coming? And then they're like, oh, sorry, I can't make it. And then you think like, well, why didn't you just text and say, I can't make it? So you find out who people are. Then obviously I moved to Hull. I started coming to Hull first off, doing loads of different music related things, and then I moved to Hull, and I'd made some great friends in Hull, and then my music sort of progressed. So I met the Layman, and then I started getting a bit better and gigging out of town, and then slowly they started fading away as well. So I guess one thing I've learned is a lot of your supporters are going to be strangers, people that you don't even know or you don't even see that often.
Yeah, I think a lot of artists definitely deal with this whole family and friends thing, and sometimes it can be disheartening when like you've got shows and stuff, and after you've been like you say at first, everyone's really supportive and everything, but like once you're pushing for it, sometimes a few of them people fall off, and I kind of think it's probably to do with like, for us as artists and musicians and anyone else listening in as an artist, we know personally that like come whatever weather, like we're gonna be working on music still, we're gonna be hustling every day, whereas some like your friends and family like they're not your fans really. And like you were saying, your biggest supporters are probably gonna be strangers, like that's where your fans are coming from. But I've noticed with your music as well, like obviously you said you've done like bounce, you've done rap, and you've done a lot of other genres as well. Out of all the ones that you play around with, which one would you say is your favourite?
I'd say at the moment, I really enjoy the bounce at the moment. So before the bounce, I was quite heavy onto UK hardcore, that's 170 beats per minute. It's quite fast. It's quite heavy, and I was enjoying that. But there's always I just didn't feel there was a lot of opportunities within that music scene itself. I was enjoying it. But it was just getting a little bit boring for me, and I felt like there wasn't really anything really new coming out of it. And then just by chance, I got the opportunity to play this bounce gig, and I hadn't played bounce for ages at this point. So I'll do the gig. And I remember before the gig, I'm going through and I'm looking for music. What am I going to play at this gig?
Yeah.
And I just remember finding all these amazing songs. And then I come across a digital store called Bounce Heaven Digital, and they release 10 tunes every Monday, new releases or new remixes. And then on a Friday now, they've started releasing on a Friday as well. And I just thought like the hardcore just wasn't doing this for me, because hardcore's quite fast. Some of the remixes that I like, they won't sound good at that speed. But it's speeding them up to 150, which is what a lot of bounces played at. You can get away with it. So it's being able to play remixes of them, say like classic chart songs that you wouldn't maybe get as a hardcore speed. And it just buzzed me. So I'd say bounce at the moment, definitely.
Yeah. So, as well as being a musician, you also work alongside me at Goodwin as a youth music facilitator on the Hull Youth Music Network project.
I do indeed.
So how have you been finding that so far?
I've been really enjoying it. It was so unexpected because I remember when I first got told about the job, and then I interviewed for it, and then they said, sadly you was unsuccessful. And then to be told a couple of weeks later that a slot's come available, would you like to take this job? It was a buzz. Because I've always gone through this life where people have said, like, you're not good enough, you're not going to do this, you're not going to do that. So now, as daft as it seems, I kind of feel like some sort of purpose in my life is to prove people wrong. So people was like, oh, just give up the music and get a job at Tesco, you're never going to do anything music related. And now it's like, not to sound big-headed or cocky, but I'm sat here in a job doing something music-related.
Yeah,
And it's just a buzz. So I come in 3 days a week, and I'm doing music things most days, whether it's going to Music Lab on a Tuesday, recording podcasts, like being in this one now. Whether it's just, making flyers and posters, for music things. It's just a buzz.
yeah,
It's a good job to be in.
yeah. It seems really great to have like a good support network around as well of musicians and creatives and stuff. And with this whole youth music network, like what are the main aims and goals that we're hoping to get out of it?
Well, my aim, I suppose, being on this job is just to try and make it more aware to people that there is opportunities. If you are getting into music yourself, whether it is rapping, DJing, or picking up a guitar, people might think that there's nowhere to go. Or, I've been doing it at home for a while, but how do I take that next step? So I suppose the aim is to try and make people aware that they can take that next step. And like coming to Music Lab, you get the chance to be on stage and jam with other musicians. So it's almost like you're in your own band. And then obviously there's getting that chance to maybe, perform in a gig, put your own sort of event on. And it's just, a really good aim, really, to show people that they can take that next step.
Yeah, definitely.
Move out of the bedroom is what I'd call it.
And like with the music lab, with the music lab project that takes place at the Polar Bear Club every Tuesday from 1 p.m. till 3 p.m. And like if anyone's interested on coming down and you want to learn guitar, you want to learn piano, you want to have a play on the drums, we've got instrument professionals there ready to give you free tuition. If you want to learn about light and sound or about putting an event on, then like Music Lab on a Tuesday is the place to be.
Well, yeah, I mean, where else are you gonna go and get a guitar lesson for free? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
And it's a good place to go. It's a great place to learn. It's a great place to get involved and get that natural feel of what it's like being a part of a band and being up on stage. And again, as opposed to being in a bedroom, you can have all the amps on in the Polar Bear. You can get the proper feel. You can hear the proper sound.
Yeah, and like you probably agree with me on this, but there's like so many young people in the city, and I know there's so many musicians and creatives out there. Like I think it's really good that there's been something else that's been created to help point these people in the right direction when it comes to the music industry in whole.
Yeah, I most definitely agree. It's really good, and I think we need more things like this. Because it's just good that people can get involved.
So with the whole youth music network, that's like they have monthly meetings or events.
Yeah, well, we have monthly meetings where myself, we obviously do a talk, and
Yeah.
there's usually like a little presentation, and obviously this next one that's coming up, we've got some bands. You'll be seeing some more stuff about that very soon, and there is a flyer about on the socials for it. But it's a good event to come down because you can learn things, you can find a little bit more about what we're about. If you've maybe seen Music Lab but you're not sure whether to come down or not, coming to this Youth Music Network meeting might just give you that sort of that next step to think, right, I'm going to come to Music Lab.
Yeah, it's a good introduction.
It really is.
The next whole Youth Music Network meeting, that's going to be on the 24th of November.
Yes.
At the Polar Bear. And basically we've partnered up with Hull College and Wilberforce and Rono Records. So they're going to be bringing some live bands and performers down. So there's going to be live music. We're going to have guest speakers from the music industry. We're going to have music industry activities. And overall, it's just a great chance to come down and network with people in the city and find out what's on offer and what's available for 16 to 29-year-olds.
Yeah, most definitely. So if you are free on that day, that was the 24th of November at the Polar Bear Music Club, get yourself down if you've got a free day, if you've not got anything on. Even if you are maybe older than 30, but you know somebody who's a little bit younger, and you want to come down and check it out for them, just come down and have a nosy.
It's been a running theme of our podcast for this question to be asked, thanks to Ash. But Ash, what's your favourite song of all time?
Do you know what? It's really, really hard, and I know this because I've obviously asked it to other people. But if I'd have to pick a favourite song, it's a song that I've known for years, and it didn't become a favourite song of mine until not too long back. And it's got to be Underworld, Born Slippy. You might know the song because it was in the movie Trainspotting. And it's like a trancey, dancey song. And in 2018, I went to the Blackpool Festival, and it was like a big dance music festival that took place on the seafront right opposite the Blackpool Tower. It was called Back to the Old Pool Festival, and it was on the Friday night, I believe, and it was just starting to get a little bit dark. So the festival took place sort of like July time, so it wasn't getting dark till late. So about 9:30, it's coming in dusk. The tower's just starting to light up, and I think it was Roger Sanchez who was on the decks at the time who dropped this remix of Underworld Born Slippy.
Yeah.
And he dropped it. Everything just went quiet, like it dropped to a breakdown. Everything went quiet. All the festival lights went off. So it was like everything had just shut down for a split second, and then all the lights came back on. And that first intro, that do Born Slippy came in, and I remember just turning around to a massive crowd of well over 1,000 people. And they just went off to the tune with their hands in the air. It sounded so good in the sound system. And it did something to me inside. I don't know what it did.
Goosebumps, man. Talking about it.
Goosebumps. And I just felt like really good. And I almost, just for some reason, had a tear in my eye. So from that day on, I've always, because I've never felt like anything like that before with a song, like I've got to class it as my favourite. But apart from that, there's so many songs, it would be so hard to choose.
Yeah, that's cool, man. That's cool. So, just to probably finish it up, is there any advice or like what information or advice would you give to any young people or anyone looking to start out with music or take the career to the next level?
Yeah, so definitely starting out, get yourself on social media, get some pages set up, so Facebook, Instagram. I don't particularly like using it myself, but a lot of people do. TikTok is definitely a good one. Keep yourself active on social as well. So keep that presence, keep reminding people of who you are and what you're doing. So, posting regular things, even if you haven't always got a track to post, posting some kind of music-related post, or even if it's sharing the previous track. Get your social media definitely out there. Get yourself a nice bit of logo work once you get going, so logo for yourself. And just ignore the haters, keep going. If you really want to push the music, and another thing, what a lot of people have got to understand is it's not going to happen overnight. You've got to work for it. I mean, like I say, I was grinding music, sort of like I say, from probably around late 2013 first originally, and it wasn't till 2019 until I started getting flyered bookings. So it takes a while, and you've got to understand that it does take a while, and you've got to put the graft in yourself. You can't sit on your ass and expect it to come to you. And if you've got a friend who, say, maybe doing well, they can't just, if they get bookings, they can't just get you on the flyer and get you at that booking. You've got to put in the work and show people yourself what you can do. I mean, friends can definitely help. They can put in a good word, but they can't get your bookings. And I've lost friends through them thinking that I can just get them on a flyer. when essentially they've got a graft themselves.
Yeah, that's great. So, if you want to go follow Ash, do you want to tell him your Instagram?
Yeah,
and
so
Facebook?
if you want to follow me on YouTube, it's DJ Ash Noble. And I usually go live on there just to announce where I'm gigging next or just anything I feel like putting on there. Instagram is DJ Ash Noble. Again, I put pictures on there of flyers where I'm playing. I put video clips on my stories, footage of myself at gigs. And if you want to check me on Facebook, I have a Facebook page, DJ Ash Noble, but I do mainly use just my normal profile, which is Ashley Noble. So if you want to add me on there, go ahead and hit me up.
Yeah, be sure to go give Ash a follow on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram. This has been the Whole Youth Music Network podcast. If you want to follow us, you can follow us on Instagram and on Facebook at Whole Youth Music Podcast. Or you can also follow the Youth Arts Takeover page and the Goodwin Development Trust page to keep up to date. And
not forgetting Westall FM.
Yeah, not forgetting a big shout out and thank you to Westall FM for the support with this as well.